Hello everyone. In JavaScript, variables can be declared using three keywords: var, let, and const. So which one should you use? Let's talk about var keyword first. The var keyword is the oldest keyword to declare a variable in JavaScript. Var declarations were the norm prior to the introduction of ES6. Before ES6, everybody used var keyword. However, there are issues with variables declared with var. This is why new methods of declaring variables had to emerge. Before we get into those issues, let's first get a better understanding of var keyword. Let's start with scope of var keyword. The term scope refers to where these variables can be used. Var declarations can be global or function scoped. When a var variable is declared outside a function, its scope is global. This means that any variable declared with var outside of a function block is accessible throughout the window. When var is declared within a function, it is function scoped. This means that it is present and accessible only within that particular function. Let's take an example. Let's declare var a equals to 8. So right now this whole thing is one scope. So this is globally present everywhere. Now let's have a function a and console.log. Okay, let's make this b. Console.log a. This var. Let's console it here. And let's call this particular function, and also let's console it outside the function. Okay, so inside the function, the one that is declared, the one which has console inside the function, and the one that has outside the function, they both are giving us the same value a. So we can access this particular var a, this particular identifier a, inside the function as well as outside the function. So when var is declared within a function, it is function scope. So let's talk about that now. Var c equals to 9. Then I want to have this outside. Let's see if we get so we can see that we are getting reference error. C is not defined. So now we know that var is function scoped, because anything we declare inside the function, if we declare var inside a function and we try to access it outside, it will give us reference error, C is not defined. Now var variables, the variables which are declared with the keyword var, can be redeclared and updated as well. Now what does that mean? Var variables can be redeclared and updated. Let's check that out. This means that we can do this within the same scope and won't get an error. Var a equals to 9, and if I'm writing var a equals to 8, will this throw an error? Let's check. This is not throwing any kind of error. Let me refresh properly. So we can see we don't have any errors in the console. Why? Because var variables can be redeclared. Now, can we update this particular with this? Yes, we can, and we won't get any error because they can be updated as well. Now, let me try console.log a over here and a over here. So yeah, we are getting 9 first and then we are getting 8. So they can be redeclared and they can be updated as well. Let me try and redeclare this. So just like we expected. Okay. Now, if users use the variable before the declaration, what happens if a user uses the var keyword before the declaration? Let's see. So console.log a, and then I'm defining var a like this. Let me initialize it as well. What happens? Let's see. It gives us undefined. So it's not giving us error. It is giving us undefined. It initializes basically with the value of undefined. The output will be shown to us in the console, and if we are consoling it, we get 10. Okay. So let us discuss problems with var keyword that we have. So I've written this code in which we can see I have declared a variable hey with hey value and a count variable with 3. So I'm writing a block over here. This is a if condition. If count is greater than 2, which it is, this is true, so it will go inside, otherwise it will not. So in this case it does go inside, and it makes this hey, which is already declared before with hey value, it makes it hello, and when we console it, we check the value, it gives us hello. So this is not a problem if you knowingly want hey to be redefined. But if you don't want it, if unknowingly you have done this, that you have declared a variable called hey, and further in your code you are declaring a variable hey thinking that you have not declared it before with the name hey, and if you are doing this, then it is a problem, right? Because now even outside this particular scope, this particular variable has the value of the one which is inside the scope. So this could be a big problem. Now let us talk about let. Var, as we know, is a function scoped keyword, but let and const were introduced in ES6. Before that, let and const did not exist. Let is block scoped. Okay, this is a very important thing. Why? Because var was not block scoped. It did not care if a block was. First of all, what is a block? A block is a section of code bounded by curly braces. So this is a block. These are the home of a block. Okay, anything enclosed within this curly braces. So a variable declared in a block with let is only available for use within this particular block, but that was not the case with var, as we had seen. So a variable declared in a block with let is only available inside this. So let's say we have a particular let a equals to hi, and we go inside and we say, let's take the same, actually this is 8, and we say that if b is greater than, if b is less than 9, then let hi with triple I is equals to, okay, and let's console.log hi, and let's console.log hi. This is a little bit different, but yeah, so we get reference error. Hi is not defined at line number 14. So if you are declaring something inside a scope, you cannot use that outside the scope. So this is the difference, main difference between let and var. But if you did the same thing with var, then you can use it like this. You will not get reference error. This is not an error. I'll refresh one more time, 1 second. Now that we know that we cannot use anything inside the block statement, if we cannot use let outside the block statement, block scope. So let's talk about in var we can redeclare a specific variable. Can we do that in let? Let's check that out. We have let a is equals to 8, and then I want to say let a is equals to 9. Can I do that? Identifier a has already been declared, so we get syntax error. We get a syntax error in this. Previously we got reference error. That was different. This is syntax error. Basically it is saying that you cannot do this at all, like it has already been declared. So we cannot we know that we cannot redeclare variables with let. Okay, can we with let keyword? Let's check that out. Okay, so let a is equals to 9, and then I want to make let a is a equals to 8. Can I do that? Yes, I can do that. Console.log a over here. What? Okay, yeah, let me refresh. So yeah, we can update the value of a with let keyword, but we cannot redeclare them, but we can update variables with let keyword. Okay, that let is block scoped. So let me give you an example. 9, let a equals to 9, and if I'm going inside this block and I'm saying let a equals to 8, can I do that? Yes, I can do that because this is a different block scope. This is different scope. Okay, so if I'm writing console.log a over here, then I'll get 8. But if I'm writing console.log over here or over here, down, up, inside, so we get over here as 9, then we get 8, and then we get 9 again. But if we did this with var keyword, what would happen? Up it will give us 9, inside it will give us 8, and down also it will give us 8, because it does not matter if you have this scope or not. It will treat it like a single thing. But with let, that is not the case. This is a different scope, this is a different scope. So now we know that. Okay, now I want to check if I can access a particular identifier before it is declared when I'm using let keyword. So I'm writing console.log a. If I save this, it will tell me a is not defined. But if I'm writing let a equals to 10 maybe, then it will tell me cannot access a before initialization. So before we saw that it was telling us that a is not defined, right? Even this is reference error, but it is telling us a is not defined. But in this reference error, it is telling us cannot access a before initialization. Okay, now let's check with function scope how things work. Let me write let a equals to 9, and now inside of function b, let's declare a variable let c equals to 8, console.log c, and I'm calling the function, and then I'm writing console.log c like this. So it is telling us that inside this we can use, but outside the function scope we cannot use the variable which is declared with the keyword let inside the function. C is not defined. So with function scope we cannot access it outside the function too with let keyword. Now let's talk about const keyword in JavaScript. With const keyword, it is same like let, but the only difference is that you cannot update values that come with const, that you initialize with const keyword. So if I'm writing const a equals to 9 and then I want to write a equals to 8, a equals to anything, then you cannot do that. Assignment to const, it gives us type error. You cannot. So we had seen reference error, then we saw syntax error, now we got type error. That assignment to constant variable, basically it's telling us you cannot update it. Okay, and if I just want to declare it and not initialize it, then it is giving us syntax error. It is the syntax that you have to initialize with a value. Const declarations require an initialization value. You have to give it a value. Then you cannot update, or you cannot const a equals to 9 and then you cannot say const a equals to 8. You cannot redeclare it as well, just like let. But you cannot update the values of const, but you can update its properties. So if I have const a is an object and I'm writing x as 1 and I say that y as dd. Okay, so console.log a. So it is giving me the value. Now if I want to say that a dot y is equals to kk, and then I'm consoling here, so will that allow me to do it? Yes. So I can change the property of a totally. Okay, but if I say that a is equals to s and l, then this is not allowed. Assignment to constant variable, type error, same error that we got. So you cannot change its value, but you can change its properties. Okay, so let's have a quick summary of what we learned today. The difference between var, let and const. Var was there before. Let and const were introduced in 2015 with ES6. Before ES6 2015, JavaScript had only global scope and function scope. ES6 introduced two important new JavaScript keywords, let and const. These two keywords provide block scope in JavaScript. So coming to scope, they provide us with block scope. The var keyword, scope of it is functional scope, and the scope of let variable, let keyword is block scope, and the scope of a variable which is declared with const keyword is block scope as well. Redeclaration. So you can redeclare variable with var keyword, but you cannot redeclare with const or let keywords. But you can update your code with let keyword. You can update your code with var keyword, but you cannot update it or redeclare it with const keyword. Initialization. Var keyword can be accessed without initialization as its default value is undefined. So if you write var a, that's it, you don't give it any value, you can still get, if you console it, you will still get undefined, you will not get an error. With let keyword initialization, for example, if you are writing let a semicolon and then you are writing console.log a, it will give you undefined. But if you try to access a before declaring it with let keyword, then it will give you reference error that you cannot access it without initialization. But with var keyword that is not the case, you can access it and then you can declare it, that will be fine. With const keyword you cannot declare it only without initialization, so you have to initialize it, otherwise it will give you error. Thank you.